Hello, how are you doing? I hope you're having an amazing, wonderful, beautiful day. I want to share with you that you are a genius, you are special, you mean the world, and you are loved. Today we're talking about the two different versions of karma. Now, this might seem very weird. There's two versions of karma. I've never heard of this. In essence, there is one karma, and what makes it too different is the way you are living. So, in essence, if you're living in form A, karma is going to affect you. Karma being caused is going to be very different than the karma for person B. So, what is karma? Karma is action, karma is your making. So, we say karma is action, karma is your conscious actions. So a lot of people look at karma. Sometimes whenever I started my journey, I really felt like I was limited to the options, to my life, to what life was bringing to me, what I could potentially do, because I'm an infinite being. Like I've been here, um, potentially a million times on this planet, and for a lot of my life before my first awakening, before I knew I could be conscious, I certainly wasn't worried about my karma, and I did a whole lot of things. So what does this mean? When you have your first awakening and you realize that there is an inner world and it's more real than our outer world, and you realize you can be conscious, all this hits you like, oh my god, well, what about all these other things that I've done? Is it now going to affect me? Well, this is why I break karma into two. It depends 100% in how conscious you are being. So again, karma is action. Let's look at it. Your life is your karma. That is to say, your life is your actions. Okay, well, if you're living in the most limited way, which that is the paradigm of to not think is to best think, as I once accepted that was the best way to live, how am I affecting life when I am not using my internal faculties, when I'm not using my higher faculties? Simply put, the only way that I can affect my life in that state is by my physical body. So what does this mean? I am using my most dense aspect to affect my body. And it's very limited because living through just the body, to be happy, to affect my biochemistry, I have to externally move throughout space and cause effects. It's very cause and effect. There's no instantaneous effects like there is whenever you're living through the heart, which is the most conscious. And now, of course, we have the intermediate phase where that's where I also was at one point in my life, where that's you're using your brain to create thought. It could be imagery, it could be something that you're using your internal faculties for, but not 100% of the time like that is done in using the heart. Intermediate phase, I'll show you what I mean. At one point in my life, I was waking up and falling asleep. That whole time span, I was repeating one word: love, love, love. I say that is intermediate because we can all agree there's a lapse of time between each love where I am silent. So what does that mean? I'm leaving space and time where I'm not sending any signal. Of course, my intention is to create the next one. However, the light is not shining. So these are the three facets of life, and how conscious you are depends on your karma. So again, let's go back to where I started, where I was only affecting my life with my physical actions. I was scared to have thought because I would think I wouldn't manifest, I wouldn't obtain the things that I want in life. So what is my action? Means action. My life is my karma. Well, simply put, karma, the universe is looking at my actions because that's the only way I'm affecting. That is the only action I'm doing. So what it's going to bring me is all of my actions, all of the physical things that I have done at the present and in the past. But that's we can just put that one line on a bar graph. Let's make that one bar. Excuse me, make that one line. All of my actions are one line. And whatever vibration, energy associated to those actions is what I'm going to get back from the universe if I'm living that way. Now let's take it to the next level, the second phase, where someone is consciously using their brain, not their heart yet, but just their brain. So the brain, you can imagine. There's like we have the third eye, of course. What else do we have up there? We can create thought. We can. There's a lot of imagination, a lot of thought, numbers. That's all associated with the brain. Okay, but it's not at a 24/7 degree yet. So what does this mean? Well, that's also action. What is action? Something in motion. Your energy, you're utilizing your energy. Now, it's harder to understand. It is difficult to see how creating thoughts consciously, creating imaginary visions, a painting, coloring, using your brain is action, but indeed there's something going on. If we can look inside ourselves and see like what we're doing to create thought, there is a movement in my interior world, is there not? So that also is action. The universe, karma, God, the creator is also looking at this, and this is also being taken into account, and it is influencing your karma. If your actions are at X vibration, let's put it a higher vibration, and also your thoughts, well, now you have more karma behind you because you have more a wider scope of life. Remember that line graph? Previously, karma was only looking at your actions because that's all you were doing, but now it has your actions, and another line at a different color is going to have your thoughts. Well, that's more power to you, and more karma is going to be looking at what you're doing in every facet of life, and it's going to give you more of that. So why does life start becoming more magical once we start becoming more conscious? Well, let's say that we haven't always had like the best actions. Let's take myself for example. I was abused physically, emotionally, psychologically. I didn't have parents. I don't know who my mother is. I was adopted, foster home, a whole big of a mess, right? So, I mean, even though I didn't, consciously go and look for these unfortunate events, that happened. So, psychology would say people that, grow up in like the very negative environment, there's two ways. They can either come out of it, but majority of the time they're going to duplicate that in their life. Well, what happens when you start becoming conscious, you don't fall under statistics. Are very dense, right? You can't There is no more statistics for the person that is conscious, because quantum physics show us that your thoughts and your emotions have a change in outcome in your future. So had I not been conscious, I probably wouldn't be as bright and as happy as you perceive me today. I wouldn't have reached the things that I have reached today based on simply where and what my body has lived through. And now let's take it to the last level, where we're living 100% conscious. We are filling in those gaps between every I love myself, every conscious thought, and we're sending out signals every conscious breath that I am experiencing. I'm sending out a signal to the universe of what I want. I do that in the form of creating a vision internally, creating an elevating emotion of a love of what I mean. Really, it's the best feeling possible. I jumped into that. I jumped into the vision that I want to create. I jumped into my dream world. And that's what I'm constantly sending out into the universe. The perfect world for me. So the hardest thing for the human being might be making yourself feel right now in the present moment how that future scenario is going to make you feel. What do I mean? We often wait for the perfect wife, the perfect husband, a lump sum of money, the cool car, the dream job to feel happy, empowered, and so forth. But quantum physics shows us that we can change the an outcome in our future by making ourselves feel right now those feelings. So now, how have we changed karma? Well, now karma is constantly looking, receiving signals, and you're doing this consciously. So that is an action. It's like turning on a light. You have to literally turn on the light. Whether it's Siri turn on my light, or Cortana turn on my light, or Alexa turn on the office light. or clapping, or literally the the most old-fashioned way, which is like using your hand. It doesn't matter, but you're doing it consciously. So it is an action, and the universe is going to respond to this. And this is now your karma. The best way to affect your karma, to create the life you want, is to be the most conscious you can be. What is consciousness? Consciousness simply is sending the signal that you want. Sending signals out is consciousness. You're walking in a dark forest, that, let's call that your mind, and you have a flashlight, but it's off. But you're walking, so you're conscious that you can turn on this flashlight in the dark forest. Don't live in that paradigm. Don't live in the paradigm of you have a flashlight, but you decide not to use it. If you haven't had your first awakening, then it's okay. I mean, you don't have no option, right? Although you can just start saying how much you love yourself. But now let's talk into, adults and, 18 and above, or whenever this happens for us, you have that option. So to be conscious, you start to change your karmic energy. And the more conscious, the more signals you're sending out, the better life you're going to be. Why? The human being that knows that they create their experience, the human being that knows they have the power to create their emotional and mental state, will not create a negative reality for themselves. I hope you've liked this video. Please share this video with your loved ones, with your family, mastermind group, on your social media accounts, and also I hope that this has inspired you to jump in, dive deep inside yourself, or just a little bit, just start opening those doors and accepting that you are as much physical and non-physical. You have a mind, you have emotions, and to use the greatest gift that you have available to you, and that is your heart. And please comment below. What do you call karma? What is your definition? How does my definition of karma settle with what your current belief system of karma is? And also share with me topics that you'd like to hear in the future. Hope to see you in the side of light. Goodbye.